Hey.
Alright, y'all, so we are about at the unofficial halfway point of this NBA regular season. I've thankful to you guys, gained a decent amount of subscribers since I posted my preseason predictions way back in the month of, I think it was October. So today I thought it'd be fun to take a look back at those predictions, and because I remember getting a lot of stuff wrong. I do have a few things that I remember being right about, but it's mostly wrong, and I just kind of wanted to have a quick laugh at myself. So if I remember correctly, I tried predicting the standings in the Eastern Conference and Western Conference, and I also tried to predict the winners and the runner-ups for each of the major individual awards. I haven't looked at this document since I made that video, so it's not quite a live reaction, but this is, I'm kind of just seeing this as the same time as you guys are, so let's just have some fun with it. Starting with the Eastern Conference, the top of the standings are actually looking pretty solid. I remember making my predictions video, I was switching back and forth between Boston and Milwaukee at the top spot. Seems like for now I've chosen wrong. Shame on me, especially as a Celtics fan, but I'll take that one. Outside of that, I got Philly and Cleveland at 3 and 4. I think there's still plenty of time for that little swap to happen. Knicks at 5, Miami at 6. That one is looking perfect right now. I guess my first real miss were the Brooklyn Nets, who I had ranked 7th heading into the season, and they currently sit at 11th on the outside looking in of even the play-in. And, unfortunately, living in New York, NBA League Pass has those games blacked out for me, so I haven't really even been able to watch that much of the Brooklyn Nets because I have to wait 3 whole days before I can even watch a rerun of the games. Shout out NBA League Pass. But yeah, from what I've seen from, fans on Twitter, journalists on Twitter, all that good stuff, it's not great vibes in Brooklyn right now. It seems like Cam Thomas has been fun though. I'm upset that I haven't watched as much of him as I feel like I should have. He's just a really entertaining go-to scorer, so that's always a fun type of archetype in the NBA. From there, I'm pretty much on par with the Pacers. I know they got off to a really hot start, but they have since settled down, and actually they're on a bit of a win streak right now, if I'm not mistaken. But I think I nailed them. They took a leap in the right direction, but they still aren't quite a contender by any means. Obviously, big Pascal Siakam trade just happened, so we'll have to wait and see with that. They might. I wouldn't be surprised if they vault into that top 6 and avoid the play-in at this point with the Siakam trade. But from there, I pretty much nailed this next tier. I had Atlanta 9, Orlando 10, Toronto 11, Chicago 12, and according to the real standings, it's Orlando 8, Chicago 9, Atlanta 10, and Toronto 12. So, I just don't really care to talk about these teams that much. That's basically just the portion of mid in the Eastern Conference. So, I don't have them in the specific correct order, but I think that's a good enough job. And then in the bottom tier in the East, of course, we have, I had Detroit 13, Washington 14, Charlotte 15. It has been the exact opposite of that. Well, I guess I got Washington correct so far, but yeah, Detroit, I thought they'd take a step in the right direction. They haven't. They are still a very terrible team. But if there is one thing I do remember from this portion of the Eastern Conference, I think I said something along the lines that the Washington Wizards would have a Utah Jazz, mini breakout at some point this season. That looks like it's not happening at any point. So I will also take the L on that front. But overall, for all the shit talking I did about my predictions at the top of this video, Eastern Conference isn't looking too bad. Now the Western Conference, on the other hand, yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. I really need to stop believing in the Los Angeles Lakers, but they had such a good second half of their season last year, made the conference finals, and were looking like they finally had figured out how to play around LeBron James, and then they come into this season and just absolutely lose all ability to play the game of basketball. So you know what? I stand by my Lakers in the 1 seed prediction. It's wrong. I understand. But with the Lakers currently being 21-21 in the 10th seed, I still think that there is a good team in there somewhere. Maybe they make a move at the deadline. Even if they don't, I'm still holding on to some hope that this is actually a good basketball team. From there, I had Denver number 2. They're currently number 3, fighting for that top seed. I'll take that. I was high on the Minnesota Timberwolves heading into the season. They were probably the team I was standing up for the most. I was willing to die on that Minnesota Timberwolves hill. But it turns out even I sold them a bit short, because they have been the 1 seed for, pretty much the entire season so far. So I'm happy I called that one. That was probably my biggest, at least in my opinion, my biggest, risk-taking shot call. And that's one shot that is making me happy so far. Because from there, I had Phoenix 4, Golden State 5, and Memphis 6. Now, Phoenix, again, similar to the Lakers, they're currently in the 8 seed at 22 and 18. I still think they could push for that 4 seed by the end of the season. That's just all going to come down to the health of their big three. Finally playing together, we finally have seen them play more than like 100 minutes together on the court at the same time. And, guess what? They're winning basketball games. Who would have thought? But Golden State, on the other hand, has completely fallen apart, dealing with all of their bullshit that's going on behind the scenes over there. They're currently in 12th, and I have no hope of them reaching or even sniffing anywhere near 5th place. And the same goes for the Memphis Grizzlies, but they at least have the excuse that they've had one of the most horrific, injury-riddled seasons the league has ever seen. I saw this one tweet that you can make a whole starting 5 that could compete out of the players that they have on injured reserve right now. So yeah, that's just an unlucky one. Moving on, I had OKC in the 7 spot, which they have completely blown expectations out of the water. I remember saying something along the lines of, oh yeah, a lot of people really believe in the Thunder to be a playoff team, and I just don't think they're quite there yet. So yeah, I'll take the L on that one. They're a really good team. They're probably a contender, although I don't think they're the strongest contender in the West. They are in that conversation, so definitely wrong on that one. Sacramento, I had them 8th. They're currently 7th. I think I pretty much nailed that one on the head. I had the Clippers in 9th, and that prediction was looking pretty good until they traded for James Harden and turned into probably, I think they're at least a top 3 team in the league right now for at least the past couple months, and they're all the way up to the 4 seed. I can see them contending for the 1 seed at some point this season, so I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see the Clippers going over expectations for once, finally, in their whole, PG Kawhi era. New Orleans is also blowing expectations out of the water, and I didn't trust them because I didn't think they could stay healthy. Looks like they're finally staying healthy and they're actually playing good basketball. So again, I'll take the L on that one. Then missing the playoffs, I had Dallas and Utah at the 11 and 12 spots. Dallas currently sitting at 6th, Utah currently at 9th. So again, I think Dallas is going to come back to earth at some point. They're a team I expect to slide a little bit in favor of teams like the Suns and maybe even the Lakers later on in the line. But the Jazz have actually, they've continued their success from last season into this season, more so than I expected. That's another one. I haven't been insanely wrong, but they are, it should be noted that they are outperforming what I expected them to do. And then from there, I had San Antonio, Houston, and Portland rounding out the bottom of the West. Now, San Antonio, Portland, they're right where I expected them to be pretty much. Houston, on the other hand, has also been really good. I completely undersold the additions of Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks to this team. Also, I didn't expect Şengün to take the leap he did, even though I felt like I was pretty high on Şengün. He is very much the core and center of this team, and he is acting like it and playing like it. Now let's run through the awards really quickly. Clutch Player of the Year, I feel like it's kind of hard to tell. They don't really have like rankings for this throughout the season or anything like that. But I feel like SGA definitely has a shot at winning. I had Lillard as the runner-up, so I think it's probably going to be between one of those two as the season continues on. Fox, Brunson, Edwards also have been good in the clutch, just not quite the level of a Lillard or an SGA. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at my Coach of the Year prediction. I had Darvin Ham. That ties back to the Lakers spiel I went on a little bit ago. That one's not happening. But my runner-ups look really good between Chris Finch, Joe Mazzulla, 2 1 seeds. Adrian Griffin of the Milwaukee Bucks probably will have some votes. Mark Daigneault will probably also get some votes. I just erase my predicted winner. I think that one's looking pretty good. Most improved. Yeah, all of these are looking pretty wrong. I had Scotty Barnes as my last honorable mention. I think he's got a good chance. I know Lauri Markkanen has been getting a lot of shouts. So yeah, that's another one I got pretty wrong, especially the Jordan Poole pick. It seemed really good at the time. I know a lot of people felt good about that one, but the Washington Jordan Poole experience has been an interesting one more than a good one. For 6-man, I had Emmanuel Quickley, which that one was looking pretty good until he got traded and became a starter in Toronto. So my picks after that were Malik Monk, Bobby Portis, Norman Powell, and Chris Paul. Chris Paul probably not going to happen, but the rest of those guys, I think all great candidates, and I think at least one of them should probably come away with 6-man this year. If I had to pick right now, I'd probably go Norm Powell. Now, Rookie of the Year, I remember specifically saying in this video that it is not a race, the race is already over, and it will be Victor Wembanyama. I also had Scoot second and then Chet third, which clearly incorrect. Chet has done a great job this season. He is actually contending for the Rookie of the Year award still at the halfway point, which I think if you told a lot of people that back in October, they would think you are crazy or just lying straight up. I said it in my Victor Wembanyama video recently. I'd still take Victor as Rookie of the Year right now, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they go with a co-winner or if Chet turns it up a little more and they end up giving him the award. I don't really think you can go wrong either way. Now, dpoy, I also had Wemby winning this award, and I just didn't take into account how terrible that Spurs defense was last year and how bad they still are this year. And even though Wemby himself has been great and is putting up great stats, he's not sniffing the dpoy award. Now, outside of that, my honorable mentions were Anthony Davis, Jaren Jackson Jr., Bam Adebayo, and Evan Mobley. Mobley's missed a lot of time. I don't think he's going to qualify, but I wouldn't be upset with any of those other three winning. Rudy Gobert is another strong candidate right now, which I would also be fine with him winning it too. Bad on me for not putting him in the honorable mentions. He was pretty bad last year. I'm not gonna hold myself to that one. And then MVP, I had Nikola Jokic at the top, Giannis, Tatum, Booker, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Omitting Embiid from this was probably not the smartest idea, but if he misses like 10 more games, then it's gonna look really good at the end of the season that I didn't include him. Either way though, Embiid is the favorite right now as long as he stays qualified. I should have had Shai higher. I really believed in the Tatum agenda this offseason. And then Devin Booker, I really wanted to believe in the Suns team at the start of the season, and then we know what happened with the injuries and all that. So yeah, Devin Booker probably doesn't belong on the honorable mentions list here, but I felt good about it at the time. But those were all of my predictions from the preseason. Biggest misses, obviously the Lakers. Everything to do with the Lakers was just horrendous. Warriors also another pretty big miss on my part. Basically, the entire West in general was, I think I said it in the video that it's going to be hard to predict because it will be changing every day, but I stand by that. Still did a terrible job. And at this point, when it comes to the awards, I'll be happy if I get at least one right at this point, because yeah, I don't really see a lot of hope for most of my picks, but that's the greatness of the NBA basketball. That's all I got for this one. As always, if you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all those good things, and I'll catch you on the next one.